Hello and welcome back to Exeter City for the last and final time. And for this grand finale, we're playing the mightiest of clubs, Millwall. I'll get you caught up. Yeah, so kind of the worst of both worlds happened in the end. The match in which we won the Premier League title was the one in between two Champions League semi-final losses. So they want to bring you those in case we did progress, and then we still had a Champions League final to do at the end of the season. And it kind of worked out in either way. We won the Premier League title and then got knocked out of the Champions League. Despite the fact we beat Barcelona 4-2 away from home in order to progress to that point, we then proceeded to lose to PSG 3-1 in the home leg. Yeah, I will say, FM'd. The bigger FMing was the actual loss to Barcelona. They had 2 shots on target and scored both of them. Also, for whatever reason, we just can't seem to handle Man United this year. But every other game we've won, although a lot more narrowly in this period. The games did come thick and fast, so I am just putting maybe tiredness as a factor into the less emphatic victories in this portion, apart from obviously our most recent 4-0, which also probably actually one of our bigger breathing points, a Tuesday and a Saturday. The Burnley game was weird because I think it happened before an international break was actually technically fully over. Like the actual international games had finished, but we hadn't had that full week of recovery that you normally get before you play a league game, which meant I basically had a first 11, and that was it. So thanks, game, for that particular scheduling. I had to play Ruben Diaz at left back. Also, our wonder kid, Oshan Williams, started that game. A few Thai players that were already on the bench to begin with, including youth prospects that I genuinely have no idea if they're any good. They just happen to be the ones with most conditioning for that particular game. I know Demerson Bruno has developed to the point where I've actually put him in my first team now. First team squad. This guy at least is 2 stars as well. It's the guy I nicked from Spurs. So it turns out, did technically see him, even if he didn't come on. But the usual suspects getting us through that game, really, Eduardo and Prieto, are, I'll call them old hands at this point. Eduardo's still mid-20s. All that means is we won the title quite easily. Joint first for clean sheets is Avalos, 2 goals and 2 shots against Barcelona, and he gets 14 clean sheets in the Premier League. An absolute enigma is Enrique Avalos. He's either brilliant or terrible. He also started to get concerned about his playing time, despite being my first choice goalkeeper. That was the point when I realised he was signed up as a star player, managed to just work him back to first choice goalkeeper, which is the highest a goalkeeper should ever have in a squad. Kinda get the idea of star player. Really, when you're signing a goalkeeper or negotiating a contract with a goalkeeper, the only 3 options should be first choice, cup, backup, / emergency backup. They're the only 3 roles a goalkeeper ever has in a squad. 20 vision and still couldn't keep out 2 of 2 shots. Still got potential, apparently, to grow into. But yeah, we're ending in Millwall just because narrative. We borrowed their stadium for many, many years. It only feels right to visit it one last time. They are bottom of the table, 5 points from safety with 2 games to go. So this game will effectively relegate them if they get anything less than a win out of it, which feels a little rude. I should say, we've also recently just had a takeover, finally. Thanks for that timing, where they severed my link with Defensor Sporting, the Uruguayan club, which they then immediately renegotiated and put back on. I put that on Twitter. Defensor Sporting, I apologise for the confusion there. This got a memo through saying, yeah, we're cutting this tie, and then literally 12 hours later, they got an email from me going, actually, no, I'd rather quite like to keep you, so if that's all right, cheers. Sorry about the, in charge. Oh, Uribe's tired for this. Ryan Saunders. Might as well play Stuart Smith as well while I'm at it. I'm just playing Cosminho for the last few games as well, just because I didn't have a right back last game either. Actually, because Tibero was suspended and Nasri was tired or something, so Demaral can have a breather. He's played a lot of games this season. In fact, Ruben Diaz can have a breather in this particular stretch. He's on a heavy workload, apparently. Be out of the squad entirely. Sure, why not? Prazit on the bench. Oh, Morato's returning to fitness. He might be back in time for the last game. I mean, if there had been a Champions League final, he'd have been fine for it, but that would have been an amusing turn of events. Gets injured, and the only game he plays is the Champions League final. I thought he'd be back before now. I actually kept him in the registered squad for the Champions League because I thought he'd be back in time for the end of it, but literally the end of it. Bilavalos remains in goal to see if he can actually get the Golden Glove. Smith, Demaral, Cosminho, Nasri, Soboslai, Markovic, Szymanski, Fernandez, Eduardo, Saunders. Uribe, none of the strikers are anywhere near close to the Golden Boot, I don't think. Whilst they've all got 20 plus goals there or thereabouts, they're not all in the league, so they're nowhere near. And I think the league has got like 29 anyway. It's worth noting, we're only playing this game live, because I obviously want to do a full season and series roundup at the end of it. There's a Sheffield United game afterwards, which again, somewhat narrative, but that was last year's beta. It would have been amusing if the last two games had been Millwall and Newcastle, but alas, not quite perfectly landed in that respect. Millwall have got a corner. Of course, they're going to be fighting tooth and nail for this particular game because it is the one that will see them relegated. And that situation always improves an AI team. That's ricocheted off a player and hoofed clear. Fernandez finds Carlos Eduardo. Zoboslai. It's Fernandez again. Nope, not quite. Malombe. Alex Mighton. For Millwall. Where are you going? Wahi. Great name. Mumba. Intercepted by Demaral, who... So glad I bought him as well as Diaz. I could have easily backed out of the Demaral deal on deadline day. And I thought, no, we got the money. We might as well have absolute strength in depth, be able to rotate 3 very quality players and have 2 very solid backups as well in the form of Randall and Ampadu. And then Morata got injured for the entire season, so superb. I've never been more relieved in my life, I don't think. That's probably an exaggeration. Stuart Smith has completed 2 passes in 38 minutes. What are you doing, Stuart? They've got a chance, and that was a save, wasn't it? No, goal kick. It looked like it ricocheted off my goalkeeper onto the crossbar, so 0-0. Of course it is. We're at Millwall. Why would it be an exciting game? All the entertainment I brought to your stadium for 4 years, or however long it was. And this is how you repay me. Right, Szymanski's on a corner. Are we going to pull a classic out here? Not quite, because Nasri's on the near post for some reason. I do need to look into this. Why was Nasri up? He shouldn't even be up for the corner, let alone the one attacking it. Huh? Why has my corner tactic changed? Why have all the roles in my corner tactic changed? Oh, cool. That's always helpful. What a fun quirk. I mean, 2 games to the end, that didn't really matter, but there's half an hour to go. Maybe it'll get a goal for us. Maybe that's why we struggled the last few games, because we're not getting any corner goals because of that nonsense. Abdi, Joseph. Oh, that's a goal. No, they've hit the crossbar again. I can see where they're going down. Wood, Gunn, Wood, Joseph gets the ball, still has the ball, somehow. Abdi, Joseph, back to Abdi again. Why? What are we doing? This is the team that won the Champions League last year, let's not forget that, apart from Cosmino, who didn't actually play a game in that conquest campaign. Mumba back to their goalkeeper, and but why is this highlight? It spent half an hour up at this end of the pitch, and they've gone all the way back to their goal. Szymanski. Why did the highlight start as early as it did if it was going to just faff around going from end to end for another 2 minutes? Carlos Eduardo, that was the highlight. Oh, there's not going to be a goal in this game, I don't think, judging by that. Joseph is in. Joseph hasn't scored. You know what would be lovely, guys, if we could... I mean, it doesn't matter, we've won the title, but... a draw sees them relegated anyway. Oh, there's the win. You're welcome. I mean, it's an underwhelming game for us, isn't it? Absolutely, completely within the Football Manager narrative, of course. First versus 20th in the table, with the threat of them being relegated. Of course they're winning this game. Of course. How did I not see that already? I've played this game for years. Of course we're losing this game. Like, it's every single check mark against ever having a chance in a particular game, scripting-wise. I made 2 subs at the end. Well, you're welcome, Millwall. I mean, that was technically a home... Millwall had 63% possession. Millwall. I think our team's gone on holiday. I still got relegated. Because Southampton won. Actually, I don't think there was a good outcome there because they played Sheffield United, who are the team directly ahead. But the game doesn't know that, of course, when they mark them as being potentially safe before the game begins. Aston Villa could finish bottom. I mean, they're guaranteed relegated, but they could finish bottom. Anything to fight for on final day? 7th and 8th are already sorted, so 4th and 5th is the only real... Oh, actually, I think Chelsea are fine because of goal difference, barring Arsenal. But yeah, Chelsea will be fine because of goal difference. But Man United, Arsenal and Man City are fighting for the last 2 spots still in the Champions League. Oh, Chelsea play Brighton. They've got a game in hand anyway, so yeah, they could have that resolved in time regardless. It's fascinating to see the number of players we have in our squad that are going to a World Cup, including our Cameroonian goalkeeper. I get Hesham and Nasri, they're obviously pretty good players. Thailand are at the World Cup with Praza. It's a shame we won't see how they get on, but really, Cameroon? I mean, he's on a load of Grimsby, who have just failed in the playoffs, I think. Grimsby in League One. He's, I'm going to guess, like your 3rd goalkeeper, but might genuinely be their 2nd goalkeeper. Oh, God. I mean, Anana, stay fit for Cameroon's sake. Also, I've just bought... Not that it matters at all. I just wanted to show you this nonsense. Jerry Small, part of his deal to Chelsea was 20 league goals, 3.4 million. I just bought it out for 2.7, as if he was ever going to score 20 league goals. I only lost 600k on that. Whoever's negotiation for Chelsea, morons. What an idiot. This is free money. I'm going to play this game. You're not going to see anything. I'm not going to talk over it properly. I do have to play Atamanga, annoyingly. I'd like Smith to have played that. But I'm going to play a bunch of youth players if I can, and then just anyone who I feel like deserves it. Like Avalos for the clean sheet, hopefully. And we are. We're just going to play Cosminio, Williams, and Bryant in this first lineup just to give them game time. Although Cosminio's been playing the last few anyway. Spansky, by the way, worth saying, he's on the assist list towards the top of that, so hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, we're 1-0 down within 3 minutes. This is going to be fun. Of course, they're fighting for their survival as well, aren't they? Forgot about that. Oh well. Oh, that's the goal they scored, is it? I didn't even see it properly the first time. Okay. Sorry, their goalkeeper's called Savin. I'm choosing to believe that there's an apostrophe at the end of his name. Oh, we scored an equally nonsense goal. That's fun. Cosminio's first goal. Well, hey! But anyway, probably won't see any more highlights unless they're like spectacular goals. Or first goals like that. Oh no, it's a second goal. Never mind. I thought that was a moment. It's a thrilling first 7 minutes. It's 2-1. Wasn't spectacular though, it was just this. There you go. Only his fourth goal, Markovic doesn't score. The midfielders don't score though. We've highlighted this. I'll probably talk about it more later. Also, I've just noticed, I'll get out of the way for this. Their central defensive pair are called Bastida and Basilla. That can't not get confusing. There's another moment. It's Leon Bryant's first goal for us. He's apparently scored twice for Spurs, I guess, before we signed him. It's annoying that all 4 goals that I said I wasn't actually going to really show you any highlights of have all been highlights that I've shown you. Leon Bryant's first goal for us. He's the future of Exeter, hopefully. Not that I don't think I'll have any time to do any future sims, because the beta for FM23 could drop any moment, quite possibly even today. Half-time, 4-1, Rubendiz has taken a knock, so it's not a farewell for Ampadu, but because he's probably going to stick around anyway. But I'm not sure he actually would have survived the summer if we had continued, just because he's been a little bit of a moody bum. But one last appearance of the season for technically homeboy Ampadu against his former club, Sheffield United, of course. Was on loan there. Oh, I've just realised that Avalos' Golden Glove chances went up in smoke immediately. I just have to hope that neither of the other 2 goalkeepers that are on 14 had clean sheets in the last 2 games. Bring Szoboszlai on. I'm also going to bring Prieto on, even though Bryant scored a goal. I'm going to bring Prieto on just as a legacy substitution. Just giving moments to the players that have been massively important to our campaigns. Szoboszlai's more just for a cross-save situation, just because he's been fantastic for both saves I've done this year that have involved him. Sorry, Nasri, who probably does need to come off just for tiredness reasons. Actually brought it back to 4-3 in a somewhat more tense ending, but Sheffield United, I think, needed the win in order to survive. And in fact, Millwall finished ahead of them. Such a shame. Shows a shame that Southampton beat Sheffield. I think a draw would actually see them both in a little bit more trouble. No, Millwall's goal difference would actually have been worse than Sheffield United. So I don't think that was a way Millwall survived from the position they were in, which is a shame because they beat Southampton, in fact, actually there. Indeed, yes, Bryant's debut for us, and he scored on it. He was born in Macclesfield. How did he end up in Spurs Academy then? I also don't know how it was his 3rd goal of the campaign. Is it 8 million for winning? I feel like it should be more than that. I don't know why. So in order to get a medal, you need to play 5 matches. Well, that's a shame for Brian there, but it seems like players like Angelo and Blasmarty missed the cut as well, who clearly didn't play enough even as a substitute. Who was the closest to not making it? Genuinely think it was Ampadu, although both he and Morato had 13 appearances. Oh, time for the review. 3 trophies, of course, and very minimal transfer-wise. All of them fairly pricey purchases. Atamenge, 71 million. I kind of forgot how big a deal that was actually in the end. The most expensive of all 4. C+ for Diaz, C+ for Demiral, just C for Szoboszlai, C+ for Atamenge. All of them 7.2 average. All of them. 16 assists in total for Szoboszlai across both competitions. Only 9, I think, in the league, but not bad. And 9 from left back is reasonably good, actually, when they're not on set pieces. The board are delighted that we won the Premier League. I bet they are. I don't know what's happened there. And despite the fact our stadium's brand new, we have 99%ed it. We remained 11 points clear at the end. The only teams that we lost to Man United both home and away, and in the FA Cup. Genuinely, I don't know what happened. We also lost to Manchester City away in the league. I think we smashed them at home though, 4-0, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, early on. Yeah, B's not awful there. FA Cup, quarter-final, Man United. I mean, I still don't understand. We smashed Chelsea 6-1, who I think finished 2nd in the end, in the Premier League, and then lost to Man United, who did get 3rd, actually. How was Spurs qualified for the Europa League, ahead of Manchester City? I mean, it's hilarious that they've qualified for the EC2. FA Cup's already been played, Everton won it. I mean, they're playing the Euro Cup 2 final, are Spurs. Spurs are in the Euro Cup, Spurs are in the conference final, and City are in the Europa League final. I don't know why they're not both being given Europa League minimum. I don't understand that. Surely Spurs should actually have EC2 minimum on them, not the other way around. I don't know what's happened there. I'm just spending too much time focusing on that. Yeah, that's somewhat unfortunate, but no new sponsorship deals. Sponsorship is up 30 million, so work that one out. Fernandez, top, Uribe, Pareto, Szoboszlai and Markovic, the top 5. No Diaz, weirdly, despite being probably definitely the highest reputation player. Avalos got 1 assist. Clearly we hoofed it over to Carlos Eduardo at some point, who doesn't make the front 3 this year. Last year's Premier League Player of the Year doesn't even make our Team of the Year this year. Huh. But as you'd probably expect, Atamenge, Demiral, Diaz and Nasri, who did effectively become first choice. Hesham and Szoboszlai, no Markovic either, who did gain British citizenship, by the way. Szymanski behind front 3 of Saunders, Fernandez and Uribe. I mean, Uribe's got a 7.8. I can understand that one. Oh, he got Manager of the Year. I didn't even see that. Guess that's on the next page, maybe. To the fact that Szoboszlai wasn't even the highest rated signing that we signed. Still signing of the season. Goal of the season too for him. Good for him, I guess. Player of the season is Szymanski, despite the fact that Uribe got a 7.8. I'm not gonna argue with 20 assists though for the season. The overall best 11 has finally changed formation. Finally. Fernandez, Eduardo, Prieto, Saunders behind. Szymanski not being here long enough to get that, I guess. He's on the bench. Avalos is on the bench for Sanchez in the first 11, but Uribe joins the bench. Szymanski, Avalos and Morato have all been added to the overall squad, but they're all on the bench. I'm fascinated by the lack of Tiberio. I'm honestly fascinated by the lack of Tiberio in either. And Markovic, for that matter. How is there no Markovic, no Hesham? How the hell have Collins and Perkins held on to this? More to the point, how are they not on the bench? There's one midfielder on the bench. I suppose Szymanski's counting as it. How has Szymanski got on the bench ahead of midfielders that have been here for like 4 or 5 years minimum? I don't understand the logic that goes into this. It's nice to see Sam Stubbs in defence, in fairness. A little bit confused by Avalos. I suppose he was here. No, he was only here 3 years. But I suppose that's still one of the longest stints. Sam Stubbs I get because he was here for the beginning for. And he played for 3 years, but he was here for 4. Castillo right back is hilarious, considering he was never a first choice right back. And Josh Key still on the bench as well. I suppose he played for us for a long time. Omar on the left back, I'm fine with that one. No one else was really here long enough to be there. Small maybe could have made the bench, but that's about it. Baba Mansley I kind of get to, even if he was kind of a bit part player for a few seasons. Ironically, the more he played, the worse he was. That is a genuine trend. The more he played, the worse he was. But Archie Collins, I feel like you disappeared relatively quickly. I don't know how you've managed this. Yeah, he played the first 3 seasons. How are you in this team? Because this doesn't track previous. And as much as, Perkins was a stalwart in the first few seasons, he was here for 4 years on loan. Both Hesham and Markovic have been here 5 years now, so I do not understand the midfield. So many players of the original squad have now gone, it seems. Giovanni Brown retired at 33. Baba Fernandez retired really early because he didn't get a club, I don't think. A few people still playing though. How Weymouth got on this particular season. Survived by the skin of their teeth again. Go on, Weymouth. Oh, I think this might be the first time I've been able to choose or go to China this particular summer. We'll get a bit of reputation over there, thank you. Young Player of the Year for Uribe. Yeah, fortunately Ramsdale did get a clean sheet at the end of the season. So he nicks it from Avalos by 1. I did get Manager of the Year, thank you. Avalos had to make... So despite not being, the most clean sheets, Avalos gets Goalie of the Year. Atamenge left back. Diaz in the middle. Szoboszlai and Hesham and Fernandez up front. The rest all come from Chelsea, so that's a kind of a boring... We win the league. Sorry. The season when we had the best player in the division, he didn't make the best 11. Oh, sorry. The season when we had 2 of the 3 best players, one of them didn't make the best 11. And yet the season where we actually win a title, half of the players aren't ours. Because I remember that season, it was Carlos Eduardo and then the rest are all Man United players. Or Arsenal players, whichever year it was. But Havertz, Osimhen, I don't blame Osimhen, he was Golden Boot. Hesham makes the best 11. He had a quietly fantastic season. Not really. 7.06. It's not spectacular. It's not awful, but it's not spectacular. I mean, he did have a better season than Markovic, who only had a 6.92, but those 2 positions, particularly the box-to-box midfielder, do suffer in this formation. It is a thing that happens with the formation. You can't actually see the 6.92, it's by my head, but it's a little weird. Szoboszlai was in there as one of them. That's fine. I mean, it's a little surprising they didn't make Szymanski count because he does play midfield centre. It's a little weird they didn't put him in there because he definitely should have been in there. So this is what I don't get. I don't get that. Uribe, fine. But Szymanski over Hesham if you were going to do that as a 4-4-2. I am curious. Nasri, 7.13. Fair play to Reece James. Oh, finally. I've been waiting 2 months for this bloody goalkeeping coach to come through and he comes through now. Ruining my end of season stuff. One of my goalkeeper coaches just left. I guess he was on a rolling contract and I just kind of ignored. Well, that's lovely. Cosminho, in the final week of the season, gets in the team of the week, along with Szymanski, of course, because he's fantastic and overlooked, clearly. But for this particular last season, Eduardo still gets the most goals. Fernandez, Uribe, all up there, 20 plus goals for each of them. Pereira and Saunders with 17 and 18 with less appearances overall. No, Saunders started 31 actually. Uribe started 30, but Pereira only started 23 games and got 18 goals. Prieto only started 20 games and got 12 goals. Szymanski scored 10 in the end from Shadow Striker, 20 assists for him. A lot of assists spread out between the front lot as well, apart from Pereira for some reason. Only 2. Dominic was like 6 goals from him, 16 assists. Hesham with 4 and 10 assists. Markovic, less assists. Massively less assists. How are the fullbacks doing on that front? Tibera with 5, but Nasri kind of split that, so 4. 9 from right back, effectively. Stuart Smith had 2 assists, and Atamenge, we know, had 9, so 11 from left back. Didn't do awfully. Neither of them run any set pieces, so they're not getting any sort of set piece boosts. And actually, the 2 people on corners get the most. 36 between them. Not bad indeed. But we finished this season with Ciro Fernandez and Ruben Diaz as our best 2 players. Still at 33, Ruben Diaz didn't lose anything over the course of that season, so the fact he was here on a 2-year contract probably means he'll be fantastic next year as well, but we'll never see that. Of course, Uribe developed quite nicely in the end as well. Avalos came from kind of nowhere, really. Just Paraguay, 950 grand. He was the one I nicked from under the noses of better teams. I think he may have even had offers from better teams and decided to come to us. So I'm very thankful that he ended up here. But Markovic, came from all reliable Vojvodina. And yeah, has been with us for 6 years. Just saying, you're in my best 11, Markovic. I'd probably include Hesham in that, despite 4 very average seasons. This is the best he's ever done. Again, all reliable, Egypt. Al Ali never had anyone worth saying. He came from Zamalek. But Al Ali, who provided us with a player last year, didn't get anything there. Pereira again from All Reliable Defensor Sporting, who, like I say, we've just had a weird moment with. Seriously underrated Pereira as well. Not fantastic, 2.5 player, just a very solid 2.5 player, worth 60 million despite that. Solid 2.5 player. Just both he and Eduardo, who I like to deploy down the middle, very average players, but just seem to put in the performances. Of course, Carlos Eduardo there will highlight his history. 7.6, 7.7, only 7.33. I mean, this is a disappointing year when you factor that in. 41 goals last year, only 26 this year. Still only 26 himself, but 6'8", still only worth 20 million, despite the best goal-scoring record in our club. 72 goals and 112 appearances. Baffling. And Prieto is a little bit older, 31, 40 goals and 84. That seems a lot less appearances. I feel like he's been here more. One of those players that feels like he's part of the fabric of the club, and yet he's only been here 4 years. Well, 3.5 actually. He was a January signing. Angelo was sort of the one that never really developed as much as I thought he would. You don't get them all right. Sometimes you get an Avalos, sometimes you get an Angelo. I mean, don't get me wrong, still not an awful player, but sometimes that happens. And of course, we'll never actually see how some of the actual wonder kids who came through our academy in the form of, Williams in that case, but future wonder kids, Bruno and Brian, we acquired. Same with Cosminio. Who was the one we nicked from PSG? Just to show you it is possible. I got revenge for anyone who's had their wonder kids poached by PSG by nicking theirs. He's had a fantastic year at Ipswich. Not that many games, but good rating. I mean, it's quite a ride from Paris to Exeter to Ipswich on loan. Yeah, one for the future as well. Yeah, the future is bright, don't get me wrong. It's a shame Mihailik never got a work permit. He's been here for, actually nowhere near as long as I thought he had, but yeah, been here ages and still hasn't got a work permit. He actually joined in the 27-28 season and it's 2030 now, still no work permit. But yeah, I don't really know who else to single out from this particular squad. Of course, we probably better just have a quick nosy at Morata, who suffered but was an absolute game changer when we signed him last year. And in fact, he continued that until he broke himself. And then there's kind of Szymanski as the best, well, it became £17 million this year. We had to pay him another 6 for his services, but the best £17 million I possibly ever spent on a already established player. Rarely go for established players, but 17 million, 20 assists in total this year, 24 assists last year. So 44 assists in 82 starts. Assist every other game effectively, and an average rating across both seasons, probably let's put that at 7.55 if you factor in the overall one, which you can't see behind my head. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous player in the end. The thing with Szymanski, though, is I've seen him on other saves and he's nowhere near as good at set pieces. He seems to have developed set pieces specifically in this particular save. Can't say it, but it's been a wild all ride. Just a shout out, of course, to the charity stream that spawned this all off. Without that, this series won't happen. And I'll be honest, at that period of the cycle, I was waning on my enthusiasm for Football Manager because all the little bits and pieces were kind of getting me down. I couldn't really find a save I was particularly interested in. But we've taken them from League 2. We started in League 2. I just had to think because they're in League 1 now. They got promoted in real life as well. We've taken them from League 2 to the top of everything. And whilst we didn't do it all in the same year, we have won the Champions League and we have won the Premier League. So that is basically all the check marks for a quality save, even if we couldn't build a legacy in the time provided. But yeah, like I say, I was waning at that time and this absolutely rejuvenated my interest in Football Manager this year, and I thank Game Blast and the Exeter City at the time via Murph. I do have to shout out Murph FM for this. Go check him out. He does fantastic content too. I've actually popped up on his channel once as well. So I do have to shout them all out for that, because despite the fact there were technical issues during the stretch of this save, which really, again, hampered my interest in Football Manager, it was the game, not the save, where my kind of frustrations got the better of me at times, and I just really felt like I could just stop a couple of times just because of the technical issues I was having with the game itself. They're a team that I've now entered my favourite teams list in general, both in-game and in real life, and they're a team that I want to see do very well going forward. They're not the expensive Lincoln, of course, are in the same division as them, but, you know, concessions have to be made. But it's been fun. I'll see you for FM23. I'm still not 100% certain on the form in which I'm going to be doing FM23 content. I'm pretty certain on the team, but you'll find out what that is. And I'm pretty certain I'll be streaming my content and recording during the stream. My time has become increasingly more limited as the years have gone on recently, so in order to provide content on both platforms, I will be recording while streaming, like I do with F1 Manager, basically. I'm not going to be doing highlight packages for FM23 in terms of the save. I will just be recording as normal, but during the save, basically. So you'll see me play the in-between bits, and I will stop and record 2 games at a time like I do now, and they will be what goes on to YouTube. So it'll be the same format on here, effectively, but you will be able to watch it live if you so desire. Link will be below for my Twitch channel and all that jazz. And whilst you're down there, you might as well click subscribe if you haven't done already for this, like, comment as well. You know the algorithm, it defines our lives. So thank you for joining me. I will see you. Generally no idea when. Could be tomorrow, could be next week. No idea when the beat is going to drop, quite frankly. So I've got a feeling it's going to be next week though. A lot of people are hoping for this week. I've got a feeling it's going to be next, but I'm usually wrong. So see you soon, probably. Ta-ra.